Hi, and welcome to another episode in our adventure to become Chateau du Cavignac, the finest producer of Bordeaux wines from Lagos, Nigeria. Yes, you heard that right. In our last episode, we went through 3.8 years building our grape juice industry in our third store in Rio to sell our wines and grape juice. And just to note, in the P&L block of this spreadsheet, I transformed these numbers to per year. So they're a little bit more comparable among each other, but it does smooth out trends, tendencies. So you got to keep that in mind. Revenue is growing by 174% to 71 million per year. It's an incredible increase. Talking about our new industry, our third store, and a good part of that wine business as well. But gross margins have decreased by 5%, net profitability by almost a little bit over 2, and the reason is because basically selling expenses increased by 1.6 and G&A diluted, partially offsetting this. But we also lost a little bit of our non-operating profit. So what does that mean? In terms of selling expenses, this increased basically on training as expected, but also advertising in absolute terms, but it did dilute. So absolute terms, this is part of our business model. It's very low quality products, and we have to advertise to make up for that. That's a short-term boost in advertising at the expense of a long-term boost from quality of the product. So ideally, we want to shift this towards our G&A expenses of R&D, which is currently at 0, but we cannot because an R&D center costs a lot of money. I don't think I can afford that with 2.5 million per year in absolute net profit. So that's one of the routes that we could have gone through, is swapping out advertising to R&D. That's not going to happen today. There are other two options. We'll discuss that going along in this episode. As for our balance sheet structure, got 25 million in loans. That's an 18 million net debt with a net operating profit in the last 12 months of only 1.6 billion. That's leverage 11 times as high. But this is an average. It's moving out. I think the number is actually a little bit better in the current years. And I think that it will improve as we build a little bit more scale. Speaking of, that brings us back into the game. There are other two options. Number one is when you look at the products, we're selling our wine, our grape juice, and we're selling two products from the seaport. These two tend to squeeze us in our margins as demand increases. The seaports just jack up the price. They're very cruel. Got to keep an eye to make sure that they don't screw us. I actually had to increase that guy a little bit. And ideally, I would replace them. So route number 2 for this episode would be produce new products, but that isn't going to happen because I just don't have the cash. 7 million, 3 million per year. It's going to take forever to make up for it. So route number 3 is going back to Lagos and looking that we have two products. We have wine that's actually capped out in terms of capacity of production, 100% all around. I could double this up, but I think that will lead us towards a level of inefficiency because I do not demand twice as much production, maybe 20% more, maybe 40% more. But grape juice most definitely can use a little bit more demand. That capacity is still well below the 30% mark. So scale is, I think, the way to go. Scale, of course, when we look at Rio, we got our market share for wine, almost dominating the market. Grape juice, it's pretty low, but it is kind of building up when we look at the capacity of what we can do in terms of quality. We're at 52 versus 55 local competitors. Long way to go. But wines, we reached 91 versus 68. Of course, you dominate the market. There's, of course, one other sign that I could increase this price. I think to 12 to make sure that that yellow bar is still visible. But grape juice, I can't do that yet, even though it's just producing 1 cent per bottle of profit per unit. So going back to Lagos, I do want to start to expand our retail center here in the city, because then we can increase scales, maybe build up a second factory of wine, but most of all, bring profitability to the grape juice factory. It's in the negative profit zone because it's not selling enough. So with that in mind, step number 1 is capture everything that we can from the bank as long as they still give me some credit limit, and then build our first supermarket. If you look around here, we have a 51 customer traffic index. So I'm taking that immediately. calling this the Cavmart Legos Financial. And I'm going to produce our purchases, sales. I do want an advertising unit. I'm going to train you up and bring in our unique products: wine, grape juice, and then come in with the seaport products. I do not know what is available here. Current city, we have chewing gum, and you have cakes. I think that's better than purchasing from our competitors, at least for now. Sales. Now advertise my wines and my grape juice. Of course, prices begin off the charts. It's definitely not what I want. That seemed attractive. A 55 overall rating, made up by price. And look at that, the absence of freight dramatically improves our competitive. 15 cents, much better than the $3-4 in the other city. But still, we're at 38. Local competitors, they're at 45. We seem to be selling 0. I have to link my media. Of course, I always forget. Rating points at 69. Well, that seems like the best choice possible. And Legos, if you remember, has 3.4 million versus 4.3 in Rio. That means I could perhaps spend a little less than Rio. So I would say about 185,000. That seems fair. And I still can't sell any of these grape juice. I'm going to put this into the negatives. See if I can move some units. There we go. Trying to move the units. Okay. So that seems stupid, but the money that I'm losing here, I'm making up in my factory through increased scale. That jump here, that jump in revenue, profits are almost in the positives. That's a good sign. Okay, so I'll let the time trickle in a little bit. Hopefully we'll be able to make some money. Take a look here at Rio. Ooh, look at that. Why did that increase? Oh yeah, of course, the new price. That's good. Gotta keep an eye on these guys, make sure they don't squeeze me more. Seems to be fine. Grape juice is still at a bad level. Like if I look at the quality, 55, 53. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna wait, let that evolve a little bit more. Go back to Legos, look at my industry. My wines are actually selling to local competitors, or partners in this case. Do I have enough capacity? Seems like not. Demand seems to be limited, but I mean, it's limited by supply. I think that's fine. As for the grape juice, we're producing, we're selling. Nothing much to be said here. So as time goes by, our profitability is going up. Our money is actually going up as well. If I go to the bank, I can actually get another 5 million. I will do so, and I will try to increase the profitability of Legos as I'm paying for all this advertising. Brands are already at 3 for wine and 4 for grape juice. Why not take advantage of that and duplicate the store and duplicate our capacity to take advantage of that brand. We've got a couple of 48s here. And that seems to be like the best case. So I'll put you there. Instead of advertising, I'm going to make you a sales unit. So grape juice, which seems to have more capacity as for now. So you are the Cavmart Legos Stadium. How are we doing with this? So let's take a look. We actually got competition. They're selling for 80 cents. We're actually not moving much. Let's improve our competitiveness. Make sure that's below our cost. Not quite much. Go to chewing gum. Our company is competing with us as well. Got to make up for that quality of local competitors. Whew, I made that difficulty level with competitors, and it's truly biting. But okay, that's something. Let's give that time to go by. Our factory here is actually reaching capacity, it seems. So I'm going to put in a little bit of training just to make sure I have at least sales units at on par. As for wine, it's very difficult to keep up with this. I don't know if that's available, so that's enough. So I think I'll actually go into the bank and take advantage of they're offering me a little bit of credit and build a second unit. Start to increase that capacity. So we're talking about Chateau du Cavignac B, whereas this one is A. Did I rename that? I did, okay. And let's produce a warehouse, manipulate this. I'm still have to experiment one day to find out if I need a medium or large one. We're bringing in 2 inputs. Ooh. Storage. And an output. At least for now. Maybe I'll have to increase that. But you purchase from Chateau A, Chateau B. Your overall price, put you at 534. You increase your cost $7 just to make sure that the AI doesn't want to purchase from you. If I somehow does, then I'll go to Rio and make sure that all my stores are purchasing from the warehouse instead. So all cities, warehouse only. It's 1 store, 2 stores, and the 3rd one. Where is it? Right here. And go back to Lagos and make sure that these stores do the same. Shoot from the warehouse. So the idea is, make the AI want to buy from here instead. Sure, it has a little bit of loss, but it's making up for it at the other units. Hopefully this guy did leave. Oh well. Which means I can lower you guys now as you're set to internal sale. Level 6. Level 1. Gotta keep on training. You're level 2. That seems fair. And yeah, so let's take a look at our stores. Both are on the negatives here in Lagos still. How are we doing in terms of pricing? So in terms of brand, actually. So 17 is taking us to 56 quality. This is 46. We can actually go into the profit zone with grape juice. As for wines, 64 versus 57. I guess with wines, I can increase them as well. Hopefully that over time will translate to more profits. As for Rio, we're at 80 with wines. So we can definitely increase this a little bit more. Don't let that yellow disappear. Grape juice, 57 to 54. Finally, we can start increasing this a little bit. As brand continues to increase. And hopefully that'll bring gradually increasing profitability as we start to think about our next steps. How are the seaport products going? I've got to keep an eye on these guys. They are always squeezing me. Okay. Good. Actually, not the case. So I think that's a good next episode for us. We actually managed to bring in more scale. Even though these factories are near zero, the warehouse carrying all the profit, and the grape juice went into the blue or green as well, or the black, depending on where you're from. The store is paying for all the advertising, it's in the loss of 600,000. This one, however, should be reaping the rewards, but still not doing so. That's interesting. We are training. They're at levels 5 and 4s. As for Rio, maybe there's something to improve here in terms of training as well. As we are getting to the firm profit, but levels 4, I think that can still continue to advance. Level 3 needs to advance. And the last store, level 4, I'll keep up with the training. So I'm happy with how these things are going. And yes, let's take a quick look at our corporation. We have business relations basically with power company. This is the dude to be happy with. As for our corporate details, we have our firms. Actually, all of them are in the black. That's interesting. Usually I sacrifice one, but that's okay because in the overall supply chain, we're making money. As for products, profitability, especially from wine, grape juice is going up. Percentage-wise, actually surprising for a new product. And the 2 products from the seaports in Rio, that's not unexpected, actually. That actually lowers the importance of replacing them and increases the importance of R&D. When we look at advertising, we're spending quite the money. I think that'll show up in the next episode. When we look at the numbers from this one, it's probably starting to take its toll. So in terms of charts, graphs 1, reaching 150 million in revenue, 17 million in operating profit, 15 in net profit, and net worth, of course, going up to 50 million. That's excellent. This is the balance sheet. Our loans are up to 47 million. And income statement, net operating profit of 16.4 million in the last 12 months. That's a good evolution. If you had to say that, that's excellent evolution. And technology of products in production decayed down to 12. So we are losing another 2% at 2 points out of 100. R&D, I think that's up next. Advertising, we already mentioned. Dominance, 6th and 7th in retail manufacturing. 1st in beverage. Take that, AI. This is the ranking. I think we're doing pretty good. As for our goal, we want to become a billionaire. We're at almost 60 million in net worth. Still far, 5%, but we're getting there. So thanks a lot. But before we go, I'd like to put in the message from our sponsor, which is actually our own wines. As expected, you heard it before. Check it out. Appreciate it.
Imagine savoring one of the finest Bordeaux. Made from the best selection of Nigerian grapes. Available in uniquely valued packaging. This is the Chateau du Cavignac. Why not?
Why not? Wine? Not? Get it? Now, one thing I didn't mention in the previous episode where we showed how we made this, if you look at the quality of the image, it is highly degraded. And that's on purpose. These artifacts, that's because it's a JPEG. And I save it as a JPEG intentionally to make sure that I get all these nitty-gritty junk points that an amateurish scammer would not get when he's producing Bordeaux wines with a typo in Nigeria. That's not how you spell Bordeaux. Love it. So I'll see you next episode where we advance in the quality of our product, maybe, and we'll see if this advertising is still adequate for that. See you next time.